I think what we're witnessing is a reverse crash. And so it's a crash up and not a crash down. So right now what we're seeing is prices running away from us. Bitcoin's going higher, gold's going higher, homes are going higher, meat, milk, eggs, vacation, all that is going higher, but the result's the same. I still can't afford the same quality of life I had before.
So an inflationary crash.
It's an inflationary
that
crash.
Your standard of living.
If the ground beneath your paycheck is sliding, you don't dig in. You switch the ground you're standing on. That's the core of the reverse crash idea. The cliff isn't in stocks or homes, it's under the dollar. In a world where prices sprint away, hard assets become a lifeline, not a luxury. To retire in 5 years or less, the plan starts by changing the yardstick, then leveraging time, compounding, and intelligent debt against an asset that outpaces the drag. Here's how that lens unfolds, quote by quote, into a practical path.
There's a lot of indicators that say that this could start running away pretty quickly, like trying to catch up with gold's price and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's exciting.
So people are starting to recognize the success of the debasement trade, which not just includes Bitcoin, but also gold. We had JP Morgan saying that Bitcoin's actually undervalued, that the fair value price is about $165,000 per Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Momentum matters because it attracts capital, but the thesis is bigger than seasonality. When even large banks frame Bitcoin and gold as the debasement trade, they're tacitly admitting the game board has changed. If your retirement plan is calibrated to CPI, while your real hurdle is persistent monetary debasement, you'll always trail the pace car. The goal is to own the scarce asset the system keeps repricing upward as it prints.
And so what JP Morgan is basically saying is that governments will always debase their currency. They will continue to print forever. And so the obvious trade is to leave the fiat currency and go to a hard asset. And the hard assets are gold and Bitcoin.
This is the mental reset that underpins any accelerated retirement plan in a high debasement era. Dollars are for earning and spending. Assets are for storing and compounding. Treat Bitcoin not as a past performance trophy, but as an instrument with a forward return profile that, if it continues to outrun debasement by a wide margin, compresses time to financial freedom. It's about owning the engine, not the exhaust.
It's just like a continued runaway. And I think really the bubble is not in homes. It's not in stocks. It's in U.S. Treasuries.
Yeah.
It's in U.S. dollars. So the crash that we're seeing is in U.S. dollars. And so there was a chart that was going around, I'm sure you saw a couple days ago, and it showed a bunch of different asset prices, both in dollars,
in
gold,
Bitcoin.
and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so when you change the unit of account, you just start to see the world a little bit differently. So when you see that the cliff that assets are falling off of is the dollar cliff, right?
Yeah.
So that's the blow off top.
If the cliff is denominated in dollars, then waiting for a crash to buy may never deliver the clearance sale people expect. Instead, the play is to dollar cost accumulate into the asset, then adopt the wealth game the rich already play. Don't sell the compounding engine, borrow prudently against it. That shift reframes retirement not as depletion, but as harvesting growth while preserving the seed.
And since the ETFs have come out, the volatility on Bitcoin has completely collapsed. So I've been dealing with this firsthand. I've been working with some treasury companies, and there's a lot of Bitcoin sitting there. And so a lot of people are trying to figure out how to monetize that Bitcoin. And we've met with some of the top trading firms around the world that can trade, roll options on Bitcoin or whatever you can do to generate yield. And the numbers that they're showing year to date are not good, right? So the volatility is completely compressed. I think, so number one, I think that big drawdown that a lot of people are expecting is probably not going to happen. And
lower volatility improves the feasibility of borrowing against an asset because steadier collateral supports steadier terms. That doesn't eliminate risk, but it makes the runway smoother for a borrow against appreciation strategy. If you're aiming to retire in 5 years, the playbook prefers predictable compounding and prudent loan-to-value over casino swings.
if you look at Bitcoin, if you believe the 4-year halving cycle story of that. We have the supply shock every 4 years, right? Right now you have ETFs and treasury companies buying about 10 times more Bitcoin than the new supply that's being created. So there's a massive supply-demand imbalance there. The demand has been being met by OG whales unlocking giant wallets, but it's not about the new supply. And so if you cut the supply in half from here, it's really inconsequential to the demand that's there.
Retiring fast requires tailwinds. A persistent supply-demand imbalance is exactly that, an embedded structural booster. When new issuance is dwarfed by demand, price tends to adjust to clear the market, and holders reap the compounding, especially those not forced to sell because they've arranged their cash flow through debt harvests rather than asset liquidation.
So I think if we just break it down super simple. So number one, we don't want dollars that are losing value because of the endless debasement. And so we have to move our money into something else. Most people just get that. Most people know you don't save in dollars. Mm-hmm. So then they're taking money out of their paychecks to go in 401ks or mutual funds or whatever. Okay, so now we're going to take money out of dollars into assets. And then those assets have return profiles. So your S&P 500 or your mutual funds are going to do 4 to 6%. Your S&P 500 will do 8 to 15%. Different assets do different. Gold right now is on a tear. It's up 80% in the last couple of years. But Bitcoin has been outperforming all those other assets. So then we have the return profile of assets. Now, whether I can afford $1 of Bitcoin or an entire Bitcoin, that's whatever, $125,000 or 10 million of Bitcoin, it's the percentage of gain that I make. So I have to put away money and then I get a return profile. Mm-hmm. So forget if you can get 0.1 or whatever, it's still a return profile. So for most people, they're putting away their paycheck, but it's not earning the return. It's not keeping up with the rate of monetary debasement. Right. So government tells you that CPI is 2 to 3%. Mm-hmm. So they think that's the hurdle rate that they have to beat, but it's really the rate of monetary debasement, which is about 10% a year. Yeah. That's the number you have to beat. So really Bitcoin is the only one to do that.
Amount matters less than time frame times rate. If the asset's compounded return clears the true hurdle rate of debasement, even small positions can snowball. The 5-year window isn't magic, it's math. And if compounding is the engine, your job is to keep fuel flowing and avoid cutting the power by selling the principal.
But let's just say for right now, it's averaging about a 60% per year compounded annual growth rate just over the last few years. Mm-hmm. And it's that extraordinary high rate of return that gives us opportunities that we don't have otherwise. Now, Michael Saylor projects it will stay at least 30% compound annual growth rate over the next 21 years.
Projecting exact future returns is impossible, but the point stands. A high compounding rate collapses timelines if you let it work, planning with conservative assumptions, and then letting upside be upside is the sober way to aim for 5 years or less. The mechanism for spending without selling is the last piece.
Call it, we can harvest the appreciation with debt. Mm-hmm. So rather than selling the asset and no longer having the asset that's compounding at 30 to 50% per year and then paying taxes on that, mm-hmm. I can keep the asset but pull some of it off with debt. Yeah. So the real number is as long as the asset is appreciating faster than the rate of debt. Mm. So if I'm borrowing at 10% and the asset's going up at 20%, I could do that forever. Yeah. Forever. So the way that I've broken this down, I call it the 5-year retirement plan. I expect Bitcoin to hit $1 million by 2030.
That's the wealth game in one paragraph. Own an appreciating asset, borrow less than the appreciation, and let the base grow. In practical terms, that looks like a target allocation today, a projected value in 5 or 6 years, and a standing credit line sized conservatively so you never have to sell into weakness. You're living on the asset's growth, not on the asset itself.
So I put $100,000 into Bitcoin today. In 5 or 6 years from now, that's $1 million. That's 5 years, 5-year retirement. I could pull out $100,000 to $150,000 of debt against the $1 million in perpetuity. Never paying taxes on the money because it's debt I'm pulling out, not income. And the asset is growing faster than the debt is accumulating.
The numbers are illustrative, but the structure is the message. You size borrowing to a level that remains safe even through drawdowns, you keep LTV low enough to sleep, and you maintain optionality. The faster you can increase principal while volatility is subdued, the sooner the annual harvest covers your lifestyle, and the less you care about price chops. We traced a blueprint. Recognize the reverse crash in fiat terms, accumulate the scarce asset most levered to debasement, let compounding compress your timeline, and replace selling with intelligently managed debt so your engine keeps running. The opportunity exists because supply is constrained while demand deepens. Volatility is moderating, and the borrowing model is no longer reserved for the ultra rich. In short, the path to retiring off Bitcoin in 5 years or less is about mindset, math, and method.
I believe that the greatest era of prosperity and hope is in front of us, not behind us. I believe that we can all change our unit of account. We can all use the new tools. We can go live the life that we want right now, regardless of any circumstances. So Bitcoin is hope. It's a tool that allows us to do this, but all the rest is in your mindset and your work.
What part of this plan, accumulation, compounding, or borrowing against appreciation, feels most achievable for you right now, and what would you need to put it into motion?